Hello, and thanks for joining us in this part 5 of our van build series. In our last vlog, we completed our bed over garage area by installing sidewalls, an illuminated headboard, an overbed framework for lockers, and a bed to back door divide, complete with a handy bedside shelf. We started by installing a fully breathable and venting ceiling system, using our favoured sheet wool insulation and breathable acoustic panels. In this vlog, we will be starting on the living area by laying down an insulated and supported floor, fitting a bed to living area divide with pull-out table, and building frameworks to support kitchen units and a seating area, which in turn will house a chest fridge, dual-cut composting toilet, and the Ecoflow Pro, which will power all the habitat. You now know I like to build in zones. This allows an easy breakdown of any build into manageable, achievable chunks, and allows for easy adaptations, repairs and renewals at any future date. Now, with the bed over garage built and an insulated ceiling installed at this point in a zone built build, there is no reason why you now can't actually start using your van for some adventures. We have a bed, ample storage under the bed, and a ready-made electrical system. So with perhaps a toilet and a container of water, a chair or two, and a folding table, there'll be nothing stopping you from having a break from building and hitting the open road. We did that several years ago, hitting the NC 500 in our part-built van. This was a great opportunity to test some systems and make us rethink some system changes and layout alterations. Now, with a budget to adhere to, in a style we needed to achieve, we had an idea of systems, layout, appliances and materials we needed to use, which fortunately would suit the required van lifestyle. Off-grid and full-time living was not the remit, so unlike our build, copious storage solutions was not necessary, nor was a shower facility, as campsites and mainly weekend travel was highest on the agenda. LPG was therefore not required, and therefore no hot water source other than a kettle boiled on an induction hob for all requirements. A toilet and a fridge is an obvious must, and with all that in mind, we had a good idea of living area layout, which would be functional, within budget, stylish, and very spacious. First things first, we needed to lay down a floor in the living area. Measurements were made to space 25mm thick treated wooden battens to support our ply wooden floor and the load it would be carrying. Suitably placed and marked with a pen, paint was removed from the van's floor along the tops of the ridges where the wood would be sitting. This would allow for the strongest chemical bond between the wood and the van's floor. The area was cleaned, and then panel wipe was used to remove any residues. Polyurethane adhesive was now applied to the floor, and each batten put in place and weighed down until firmly cured. Leaving overnight was ideal, and then we could start cutting strips of 25mm PIR insulation board to fit between the 25mm wooden battens. PIR board is cheap and effective. Some suggest laying it down without battens, but it does compress over time and often leads to a bouncy floor and some probable misalignment of cabinetry. Alternatively, you could use XPS board, which resists compression and has excellent insulative properties. We did this in the garage area to keep the floor low, but there is quite a price difference. Using battens and PIR board is a trusted method, and foil backed and front offers good reflective properties. Foil tape makes for a neat finish and helps adhere the PIR boards in place. On the bench we can now cut out our ply floor. A profile was cut for the area around the seat base, which I realised unnecessary and later removed to follow a perfect straight line from the door opening to the opposite side. This would align with a floor batten and would make an easy build of an extended step into the cab that would also house some heater ducting.
Oh, yours quiet.
But for now, the floor was laid, checked and removed for a coat of varnish to protect from any moisture that would inevitably find its way under the floor. Back in place, a couple of screws held the floor down, considering the likelihood it may be coming up again, as it often did. Time now to work on the living area and garage divide. The bed divide I'd already profiled and temporarily fixed to the extruded alloy bed support, but the bottom had to be first profiled around a pull-out table, which had to be made first. Heavy-duty slides were purchased from Eurofit that would pull out to the appropriate length over our planned seat that was above the Ecoflow. A solid oak worktop had been purchased on a really good offer found on eBay, with enough to make the table and the kitchen worktop as well. Back in Paul's workshop, we cut off a suitable length and trimmed to size.
We said 550 wide, didn't we?
Got to get me one of those.
It's very good, isn't it? So that's your table. We've got 84, and we want three pieces out of that.
Yeah.
So if I did 3 at 25mm.
Yeah. Offcuts were used to give us an ideal depth to support the slides and conceal the slide ends. The sides were fixed to two 40mm square wooden battens that in turn would secure the bed under the table, easily fastened to our extruded aluminium bed supports. The slide out part of the slides were now fixed to the oak table, and the whole thing operated very smoothly and was now ready to pre-fit under the bed. I do prefer to use extruded aluminium for bed supports. Stronger and therefore less chunky than wood, even favoured IKEA Scorva beams lack the ease of use and versatility of having four-sided slotted fixing points to work with. This made the fixing of the table an absolute breeze, with infinite adjustability to ensure all was square.
It's good, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you look at that,
Rather than finish the garage to living area divide, attention was now given to making ready the installation of lower cabinets and seating. As I like good airflow around a van, I don't like fully sealing off a garage area. This can lead to forming a cold spot, which doesn't bode well under a bed and can lead to condensation issues. Where the seating joins the garage, I therefore like to leave open, but concealed out of sight to allow as good an airflow as possible and have good systems access. A long seat was made and pre-fitted to house a toilet and chest fridge, and an area to raise a standard kitchen unit with adjacent seating over the Ecoflow. With the bulkhead fitted, we could scribe the bulkhead and remove all to then cut out our bulkhead's profiles, paint, and finally complete the bed to living area divide. The table had also been removed, supports painted, and the table given several coats of butcher block oil. In keeping with the garage area, the bulkhead was painted white, and we were now ready to permanently fix down our living area floor. A good quantity of screws hold the 15mm ply firmly to the wooden floor battens. I never use any bonding agent at this stage, as who knows, in the future that floor may need to come up. And then I cap each screw head off with polyurethane sealant to allow for a smooth finish before laying down our lino covering. A piece of lino was cut to size, and here make note of where that floor stops, and contact adhesive used on both the lino and the plywood floor before being rolled into place, followed by some slick moves to ensure pressed down well. Starting from wind allows for easy access, and a piece of cardboard ensures no overspray could interfere with that slick sock action. I'd allowed room under the bulkhead for the lino to fit, so no trimming would be necessary for the neatest of edges. And all back in place, we could leave overnight for the glue to fix firm. Installing the diesel heater was the first job of the living habitat build-up. I've already covered the installation of a diesel heater in my Citroen Relay, so I'll leave a link in the description. However, this Peugeot is a later model and now features an AdBlue tank in the location I would have normally fitted the diesel heater. So an alternative location was used, which will have reasonable access for any maintenance, and a great exit point and access from beneath the van. Because we're on a bit of a budget with Darren and Amy's van, I would normally have fitted a Eberspacher heater, but cost-wise they can be in and around £1,000. There was the option to go for a Chinese diesel heater, but for every single person that says, oh, mine's great, never let me down, there's always another 2 people that said, mine don't work and I've had to throw it away. So I was looking for something in the middle when I came across a Facebook advert by a company called NORDKAPP in Finland that were introducing their diesel heater range to the UK. Now, it's a reputable company in Finland and there was a startup price, so I bought one of these heaters and was fairly impressed with it prior to using it, so bought another. So this is the company, NORDKAPP. How do they differ? Well, I got in touch with the company. There's still a Chinese heater, but all of the internals have been improved. There's a better glow plug, there's a much better pump that is exceptionally quiet, there is better electrics, there is better fuel lines. So what NORDKAPP did was they got a relatively good quality Chinese diesel heater and improved it to their standards. It's also metal cased. I don't think it's a hand in the box. Oh, it is. Yeah, here we go. So this is the second one I bought, and it's got a very, very sturdy metal case on it. Now, I fitted it quite easily a couple of days ago, and before I put in all of the pipe work for the heater outlet, I thought we ought to test it first before we build a kitchen on top of it. So I pressed the button, linked it to a standard car battery, press the start button, and within 5 minutes it's running like a dream. It's running like a sewing machine. Price wise, I think they're somewhere in between a Chinese heater and a Eberspacher style. When I bought these they were about £300. I don't know what they are now, and so far I've been impressed. So first impressions of the NORDKAPP 2 kilowatt diesel heater, and again this one also is Bluetooth. You can get them that also work by Wi-Fi as well, so you could control them out of your vehicle from a distance if you've got Wi-Fi, if you've got a Wi-Fi enabled vehicle. So first impression is, plugged it in, turned it on, it worked, and and so far it's working really, really well. So we can turn it all off now and crack on building the kitchen. So give them a look, guys. NORDKAPP, NORDKAPP. From Finland. This time I avoided removing the fuel pump and sender unit from the fuel tank in favour of fitting the pickup pipe through the breathe pipe neck, as many suggest. This was a breeze of a job and alleviated all the stress of removing the unit, even with the correct tool. With the heater now installed, I turn my attention to creating a step down from the cab that also creates a perfect straight line that runs from the cab to the whole living area, including sides and ceiling. This makes for an easy habitat build. The step also houses our heater ducting that will direct heat down the entire galley. First I made the front face, cutting a hole for the heater duct outlet, and a separate hole for the ducting entering the step from the heater. The internals were given a protective coat of varnish and van side covered with lino, carefully matching the pattern on the floor. It was easy to slot down, supported by a floor batten I'd strategically placed, and the 15mm ply floor. A couple of extra wood blocks bonded to the floor made for good anchor points, to fix with angled metal brackets to 2 blocks I'd already bonded to the rear of the face panel. 25mm PIR would now insulate the floor and help firmly fix the faceplate, and also give support to the heater ducting, fed through the access hole to a 90-degree knuckle and ran to another 90-degree knuckle fixed to the vent outlet. The height of the front panel matched the height of the cab floor, so a top piece could now be profiled with a lino covering all matched up, supported by the front face and cab floor. 8mm stainless steel dome-headed bolts fasten the top piece to 2 pre-existing riv nuts in the cab floor, and a small glued batten running the length of the top piece holds all firm, awaiting trimming with aluminium angle. I now start to install the framework that supports the kitchen units. 2 pieces of stud wall battening have been cut to run at the back and at the front of the kitchen unit and given a coat of wrapped white paint for protection and appearance. The battens are screwed down through the floor and into the support beams bonded to our van's floor. Blocks made from the same stud walling battens are fixed with pocket screws to give us the desired height we need to fix the kitchen unit over our diesel heater and line up with the cab's floor. The framework allows for a more sturdy fixing down, rather than relying on the supplied plastic legs, the position of which would also foul where our diesel heater had to be installed. On the side opposite, I prepared the chaise longue seating that will house a toilet and fridge. After a sand, the framework was primed, sanded again, and like everything else, given a coat of Raptor white paint, before fitting a side panel that was profiled towards the open sliding door of the van. CT1 bonded the panel to the frame with a few brad nails to hold in place, as was a divide to separate the toilet area from the fridge compartment. Masked to maintain white internals, the frame was given a coat of grey to run with a theme throughout the build. Now with all frameworks built to support all systems and utilities, everything installed will now have its place. Pre-measured and pre-calculated to ensure all fits, maintaining style and budget. Now all works in this video has cost approximately £800, bringing our grand total now to £5,050. Could these works have been done any cheaper? Again, yes, of course they could. That diesel heater could have been £200 cheaper if you opt for a non-EU approved Chinese offering, but that would probably be about it at this stage. The vinyl flooring we used was an offcut that cost only £70, and everything else was just bits of wood and paint, which you could try and reclaim to make a saving if possible. So how, at this stage, does it compare to our own van build? Well, unlike this build, ours was all about storage and functionality, where everything had its place, and there was a place for everything. Our van life style is very different, our van having to provide everything considering months away, rather than weekends and short holiday travel adventures. I'm not saying that wouldn't be possible in this van, but there would perhaps be compromises and limited resources that may need a little more proactive management and effort to work around. This may include food storage, water storage, extra clothing and bedding, food preparation, and capacities of multiple systems. Again, not impossible, but not without perhaps implementing a little more management. The framework in our van was therefore very expensive, using extruded aluminium to maximise the storage of every spare space, with infinite possibilities to adapt and change if needs be. We had used in total £4,000 worth of extruded aluminium in our build, to include a roof rack system, and the use and costing of which we featured in a vlog that I shall link in the description. In our next vlog, we will be trimming the living area. Nikki will do the most excellent job of trimming the external doors. What are you doing?
I'm trimming carpet.
And we'll again be using the services of Paul and his workshop to create a window surround for behind the kitchen unit. We will be creating a removable wall next to the kitchen unit to house some electric controls, which will also double as a seat back support. Up will go the remaining overhead cupboards, and Darren asks for a bit of bling as a kitchen backsplash, liking the look of stainless steel. Of course he would, and why not?
Ta-da!
When this vlog goes out, Darren has already taken his completed van and has had an adventure travelling through Ireland and Wales. So what's next in store for Van Life My Way? Don't worry guys, we have a couple of surprises for you, and probably our most extensive collection of van build vlogs we'll most definitely be wanting you to get involved with.
Welcome to my female van build. It's a female van build with an appropriate number plate. Just spit on that thing.
Now we can't have Nikki having all the fun though, so I got me one too. We're having a his and hers van build-off, and I would like you guys to really get involved with this next one. We out. Now watch Stuart do a runner, because if there's one thing he hates, it's being filmed. See you, Stuart. Thank you.